Do you want to be ahead of the game for the latest in arts, music, cuisine, and entertainment across the Middle East's most dynamic capital cities? Al Monitor is proud to launch our City Pulse newsletters, focused exclusively on local news, starting in Riyadh, Dubai, Istanbul, and Doha. Each week, our on-the-ground writers in these cities cover the latest cultural happenings and trends, so you have everything you need to know for the best local experiences. To subscribe for free, go to almonitor.com, that's al-monitor.com, and sign up on our newsletter page.
President Trump is offering Israel is an enormous hope, one that many have almost despaired from, and you see it in all sorts of manifestations. You see road signs hailing the Trump administration, praising him for what he's doing for the Israeli people. It's very interesting.
Welcome back to the Al Monitor Brief. I'm Adam Lucente. Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi said on Wednesday he feels positive about a deal being reached to end the Gaza war. The comments come as senior officials from the U.S., Turkey, and Qatar arrived in Sharm el-Sheikh for negotiations on U.S. President Donald Trump's proposal to end the conflict, which includes an Israeli withdrawal from the Palestinian territory, the disarmament of Hamas, and the release of both Israeli hostages and Palestinian prisoners. Hamas mentioned a, quote, optimistic spirit in a Wednesday statement on the list of prisoners they want to see released, while the Israeli news outlet Haaretz reported that Israel's security establishment is likewise optimistic on the prospects for a deal. Lower-level Israeli and Palestinian teams have been in Egypt since Monday. But major hurdles remain, and there are questions over whether Israel and Hamas can actually agree to the terms. In this episode, we'll hear from Al Monitor's Israel Pulse chief, Rina Bassist. Rina takes us through the significance of senior U.S. and Turkish officials participating in the talks, disagreements over which prisoners will be released and the specifics of the Israeli withdrawal, and how Trump's pressure is being received positively by many in Israel. Hope you enjoy. Rina, welcome back to the Al Monitor Brief.
Thank you for having me, Adam.
Rina, what is the state of the Gaza talks? Is there a stalemate happening, or are they making any progress?
No, I don't think there is a stalemate. I think really they are making some progress. And the fact is that the chief negotiators all arrived to Sharm el-Sheikh today. I mean, the negotiations started Monday, but then we had more professional teams arriving there to start the negotiations, to set the framework, the pace of it, that sort of thing, to resolve whatever can be resolved on a lower level. And since there was some progress made, the chief negotiators arrived today. We are talking about the Israeli side, of course, the strategic affairs ministers, Ron Dermer. Then from the American side, we have envoy Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner. We have also the Prime Minister of Qatar that arrived today, and even the head of the Turkish intelligence, Ibrahim Kalin, that joined today for the first time, actually, the talks. That's also a sign, I think, that the talks are advancing, actually.
And from Israel's perspective, what are the main issues in these negotiations that need to be worked out?
I would say there are three important points for Israel. First of all, of course, the hostages, because the plan of President Trump says that all hostages, all 48 dead and alive, should be released within 72 hours. But then after the plan was released, there were all sorts of noises, so to say, from the Hamas side, saying it would be very difficult for them to assemble all the hostages in that framework of time, and especially the deceased, the bodies, they are not sure where they are buried, that sort of thing. So this is something Israel for sure is insisting on. Israel won't compromise on that point. And the fact that the Islamic Jihad actually sent representatives today to Sharm el-Sheikh, that shows that Hamas understands that Israel is not going to compromise on that, because part of the problem is that some of the hostages are not in the hands of Hamas, are in the hands of Islamic Jihad and perhaps other organizations. Another issue which is very complicated and perhaps one of the most complicated ones is, of course, the release of the Palestinian. Israel agreed to the numbers that feature in the plan of President Donald Trump. We're talking about 250 Palestinians sentenced for life that serve their time in Israeli prisons, and then another 1,700 Gazans that were detained on October 7 and on the days after. Now, the problem is the identity of these 250 heavy security prisoners, and Israel would like to have a veto right. One name that comes to mind immediately is, of course, that of Marwan Barghouti. Israel would not like to release him. The Palestinians, Hamas, is insisting on releasing him. So that's a sticky point, a very complicated one that would need a lot of negotiations. And then the third one is obviously the withdrawal of the Israeli military, because the plan, there is even a map showing the gradual retreat of the Israeli military from the Gaza Strip. And Israel's idea is that by the end of this gradual retreat, it would keep a perimeter of security going from a few hundred meters to maybe 1.5, 2, even 3 kilometers inside the Gaza Strip to be sure there are no other attacks from the part of Hamas. And this is something that Hamas does not agree to. So I would say these are the three main points that from the Israeli perspective would be the most important and most complicated when negotiating with Hamas.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with Rina Bassist after this short break.
Today's transformation of the Middle East is at the center of global geopolitics. Whether you're an analyst, diplomat, executive, or academic, you need the best reporting and analysis to understand what's really happening on the ground and what it means for the world. Al-Monitor is the award-winning independent leader in Middle East news. From Riyadh to Beirut, Abu Dhabi to Doha, and Baghdad to Tehran, our team of over 100 expert journalists report daily on the top stories driving the regional trends. Download our mobile app and subscribe to Al-Monitor to follow what leaders and decision-makers are reading every day. Go to almonitor.com, that's AL-MONITOR.com, and use promo code POD25, POD25, for a discount.
Okay, we're back. Rina, President Trump has said that if Hamas doesn't agree to the deal, Israel will have a clean slate to go in and increase their operations against the group. But Trump has also said that he really wants this deal to go through. How much pressure does Israel think it's under from the Trump administration?
I think it's very clear to Israel that this time President Trump is much more engaged compared to any of the other prior occasions where some sort of a deal was on the table, that he's putting much more pressure on both sides for this deal to go through. And this is also why I think Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu responded immediately yes, without consulting with his extreme right partners who obviously are against the plan, because he knows that this time around the president is serious. He wants to see results and he wants it to happen within days.
And finally, what is the sentiment in Israel towards Trump's plan specifically and the points he has outlined? And has there been any shift on a Gaza deal in general in recent weeks?
Yes, definitely. I think there has been a shift, and the plan of President Trump is offering Israel is an enormous hope, one that many have almost despaired from. And you see it in all sorts of manifestations. You see road signs hailing the Trump administration, praising him for what he's doing for the Israeli people. It's very interesting. Yesterday it was October 7, and in Israel, of course, there were several ceremonies to commemorate that day, the 2-year sad anniversary. But the big ceremony that was held last night was organized by the civil society, not by the government, and it's a sign in a way that the civil society, the Israeli people, they want the Trump plan. They want the release of the hostages now, within days. They are not going to wait anymore. They feel that they are hoping that indeed 20 of the 48 are still alive, but they feel that the more we wait, this number can change, and not for the better, of course. So there is an enormous support for the plan and an enormous hope that it will work this time around.
Rina, thanks a lot for your time, and we look forward to more of your reporting on the Gaza deal.
Thank you, Adam.
Thanks for listening to the Al Monitor Brief. Be sure to follow Al Monitor for more on the stories impacting the Middle East. Until next time, I'm Adam Lucente.